drugs in it, but like classical music was created in a time where they weren't necessarily trying to dumb people down so much as they are today. So it's
Well,
probably more intellectually stimulating.
well, look at the postmodern architecture. Look at all this. It's ugly. I mean, if you, no offense, but you go to the UK and all that post World War II. Look at communist Russia. You look at strip malls, and I mean, it's just they've been killing beauty. It's quite evident that architecture sucks. Look at modern art. Oh, let me put some shit on a crucifix and call it art.
But they wanted replaceables.
Just ugliness. They've been selling ugliness perpetually for generations now.
Yeah, I read that. Someone wrote a book about that. Jonas Stoner Saunders, about like the CIA promoting ugly art, nihilistic art, back in the '60s.
I mean, how can you compare classical Gothic or architecture with what we have today? I mean, it's shameful. It's, I don't know. And you can't tell me that's not by design. Like, who would think like, yeah, let's start designing stuff like this.
So I'm a believer that we're being dumbed down over time. So I like to go in the past and listen to people in the past, and people spoke more better. People spoke more better.
We get you. More eloquent.
More well spoken.
Yeah, they would. They had a large vocabulary and they would flaunt it, and it was cool to be able to speak. And like
they were not being poisoned.
That makes sense, because like anytime I read something from a long time ago, I have to look up every other word.
Yeah.
Because
the average human lexicon consists of 12 to 17 words in Western America.
Guys, you got to realize that in the industrialization, it was basically introduced to poison everyone, because that is when they got all the poisons, and they were able to, of course, test them all. So that's when the social engineering started. Yeah, dumbing people down.
Anthony, are you there?
I could go all the way back to wormwood and even ancient cultures where they had natural substances that they found could either sedate or induce hallucinations and whatnot, and was probably likely being introduced in practice within tribal cultures as well.
Yeah,
thanks, Chris. Thanks for joining, Chris. Thanks for sharing your experiment as well, quasi-experiment.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, man, for showing us that.
Are you there, Anthony? Because when I start this next show, Anthony, I'm hoping that the first thing we're going to do is discuss the liars that are Geo Strieber Soundly and Sean Hufford. So are you there? Are you by your mic? Take that as a no. Anthony.
He's probably making
eating again.
If he's going to be, he's probably away making a brew. I'm probably going to do the same, just so I can kill a 5-minute period. I'll change the show schedule 5 minutes ahead.
Right. Then I'm going to get some lunch as well.
Sorry, were you talking to me then, Nathan?
Yeah, so when I start this next show, I'm hoping you'll be ready to talk immediately about Geo Strieber.
Yeah, but I need to be on Skype though, right?
You what?
I need to be on Skype so I can play the clip again.
Yeah, sure. Arwen, are you okay to... well, Arwen's vanished, so we'll wait till he comes back from a brew. But yeah, do you want to drop and join on Skype?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also we can talk about everybody who belongs on a milk carton who's missing. Paul Voigt and Scott Veach. Whoever it was that you were just talking about as well.
Bill Smith.
All these people are missing.
Hi, Zinda.
Yeah.
Age. Hold on. How you doing? Zinda? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, this should work now. Hi.
Yeah, good to have you.
How are you?
Yeah,
Sorry, mic was off. So, yeah.
No worries. Good to have you. We're going to start again in a couple of minutes' time.
Alright. It goes further. I didn't really realize it. Alright.
Yeah, we're offline at the moment.
Yeah. Good. So the show is about AI, I guess. I just heard a little bit from it.
No, that was the last show.
Conversations we had. But
No.
I guess you switched to another topic right now.
Indeed, yeah. So when the next show starts, Anthony and well, whoever wants to discuss it, we're going to discuss Geo, Strieber, Soundly, and Sean Hufford and their current deception.
All right. Yeah. So I'm just going to listen a little bit to be on track again. So yeah, go on, because I lost the connection.
Dead silent.
Are you baller or flat?
I'm skeptic about ball Earth, but I'm not really a
Okay.
flat earther, because
That's-
you know I'm also skeptic to flat Earth.
That's
So
cool.
so yeah, I still have to figure it out. So
Yeah.
you were talking about the AI, right? I heard a little bit. So I've read a little bit about this topic, and you know the AI that beats people in chess, in Go, right? Those games, stuff like that. So are you worried about it, or do you think it's fake, or do you think AI will never be as intelligent as humans, or what is
We
your
still want to talk
statement?
about D-Wave.
All right, B-Wave, sorry. Yeah. So go on.
No, we're looking for somebody else to try to give us a little bit of insight as to D-Wave, what their opinions are about it, and what is actually going on. Because when you try to look up videos as far as of a D-Wave actually functioning, of one of the alleged corporations who have allegedly purchased a D-Wave, administering it, there is no evidence of an actual functioning process of a D-Wave system.
All right, so I'm going to look a little bit into it, so to be at about the same point as you, because I've never really what's it called? I've never looked at this topic before. So yeah.
Check.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Anthony Riley, Zinda, hope I've got your name right, Stopping Traffic in My Rasta Hat, Peanuts Clark, Eric, Earth Flattener, Chocolate Sane, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Yo.
Hey,
Yo.
peace to everybody.
Hello. We're going to
4
rattle our
shows
way.
today. 4.
Hopefully, as quick as we can, we'll rattle our way through housekeeping. So, gentlemen, no ladies, no ladies. Any signs of curvature?
Nope.
Not today.
No.
Not seen one today now.
Any
Only
Never
signs,
looked at
curvature
the
of the
horizon.
white kind.
any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, specifically Earth-based axial rotation?
I saw a movie last night. Showed it.
Negative.
Yeah, so I saw some YouTube videos, but it's still on the screen, so not really in real life for now.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope.
Nope.
Nada.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
That's some good guesswork.
Yeah, lucky guesses, it seems.
Any evidence that we can have a gas pressure without a container?
Nope.
Nope. Negative.
Any evidence that we got a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
I think the textbook or I can't remember which one shows it, but nah.
Shows it? Really? What do you mean shows it?
Yeah. Shows it. Some fancy book written by men. That's about it.
But what did it show? It showed the centre of the Earth.
A cartoon.
Oh, a cartoon. Oh,
Yeah.
right. You got my hopes up. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Right. What about the presupposition itself? Any evidence of R, the Earth radius?
Nope.
Negative.
Now, I'm not sure whether we covered this already, but distance to the sun?
Yeah, we covered it. No.
Okay, well, I'll come back onto the distance to the sun because I'll give a relatively short introduction to what has happened. So we had a guy called Jimmy on the panel. Liar, cheat, swindler. Jimmy was on the panel and he basically edged Anthony towards a hangout that he'd had back in December of 2017 because they were discussing the distance to the sun. And the angular relations thereof were discussed with GeoStreamer in a one-to-one hangout with Anthony. Now, because the topic had resurfaced, he went back to see if there was any useful information that had been divulged in that conversation, and in doing so, he discovered that there were gaps in the conversation that were suspicious. So he raised the level on those gaps, and what do you know? You can hear Soundly having a contemporaneous conversation with GeoStreamer about the topic in hand. So he's basically helping GeoStreamer in the background. Now, for the last 3+ weeks, we've given these guys the opportunity to come clean and admit that they're just having a background hangout because GeoStreamer isn't capable of having a one-to-one hangout and needs help from Soundly. It's obvious to 90% of the audience, and up until now, there was it wasn't beyond reasonable doubt, shall we say. In the meantime, they have coupled together with Sean Hufford and GeoStreamer and Soundly as a three have conspired to cover up the assistance that GeoStreamer was getting from Soundly. And in doing so, this is for the audience to decide after this discussion, some people would be of the opinion that either Sean Hufford is incompetent because he's declared himself this audio guy, or complicit in assisting GeoStreamer in hiding up his deceit, basically. So that's essentially a summary of what's happened to date. And yeah, over to you, Anthony.
All right, so I'll play the clip in question, and I've played this loads of times. And let me state at this point, it's open to interpretation, right? We can't prove anything. We just know that there's a voice, and we don't know which mic's recording it, but we do know that there is a voice, and it's been identified to be Soundly. So that's not contentious. We know that it's Soundly. That bit's agreed. The bit that's not agreed is the coincidence that it must be if it was being recorded by my microphone. Because if this was recorded by microphone, the coincidence is that high, you might as well win the lottery, because Geo seems to ask a question. Where is it? Down here, right? And then Soundly responds. And for that to be a coincidence coming through my microphone is incredible. It could be, but it's unlikely. But that was the counter. So my claim was that Geo and Soundly were having a conversation, and they were having it was essentially a 2v1 hangout, at least a 2v1. There may have even been more. Because there is other evidence of other voices in the recording that don't sound like Soundly. But in any event, their counter was that it was me that was playing the microphone noise through my microphone. Now, I use a Blue Yeti, and it's quite a good microphone. It might not be the highest of qualities, but it's definitely at the high end of the middle range. The deep tones are good, the high tones are high, but most importantly, there's not a lot of background noise. It's quite good at being quiet when it needs to be, which works in my advantage on this occasion. So I'll play the clip in question, and you'll hear GeoStreamer say, "Where is it? Down here, right?" So that's the question that Geo asks, and then you're listening for what is said in response, which is "yeah," and go back to that definition he cites too. The rest of it's like difficult to interpret what's being said, but that to me sounds like a question from Geo, followed by an answer from Soundly, then followed by an instruction. So you guys make up your own mind. Is it a question? Is it an answer? Is it contemporaneous of the time?
Wait, let me check it. Where was it? Further down, right?
Yeah, go back to that definition he cites too. Show him you can make.
Small angle formula. Where was it? Further down, right?
Yeah, go back to that definition he cites too. Show him you can make.
Small angle formula.
So obviously my position is that it's clearly a question from Geo. Where was it? Down here, right? And his response is, yeah, go back to that definition he cites too. So that's my claim, that they are conversing in the background, and it's bled through because he's using a particular headset that has a known problem for bleed, and it's leaked through, okay? So what then happened was Sean had a hangout, and in Sean's hangout, he said the following.
Listen, everybody.
No, I'm just trying to identify what the meaning of the word angular size is.
Yes, and
You can hear right there that some audio that's not Anthony cuts off as soon as Geo starts to talk.
Now, this is not the relevant piece in the clip, but what he's trying to point out here is that there is what he tells us is evidence that proves something, right? Now, when I've listened to this about 10 times, and what he's telling you doesn't exist in the evidence, but he's telling you that there's something there, and I'm listening, and either I can't hear it, might be a little bit deaf unexpectedly, whatever. I mean, I'm 37, so I may have a little bit of tone deafness at a certain frequency, but I'm not seeing anything here that he's telling people there is something there. But the hard bit is Soundly goes, yeah, I hear that. So I'm thinking, well, maybe this is me. But the point remains that he's telling people that there's evidence here that proves guilt. And I assert that there's no evidence here that proves anything, but he's telling us there's something there. So my position is that he seems to be muddying the waters where there's nothing, trying to make out that there's something, and there doesn't appear to be anything. I may be wrong, but this is what I think is happening. So let's just play that bit again when he says, listen to what he says, and then you guys work out whether or not there's anything in it when he's saying that there is.
Listen, everybody.
No, I'm just trying to identify what the meaning of the word angular size is.
yes, and
You can hear right there that some audio that's not Anthony cuts off as soon as Geo starts to talk.
Identify what the meaning of the word angular size is.
yes, and I already corrected you.
Anthony is the one playing my hangout while he's talking to Geo. What a fucking twit. Audio guy. Gotta love me.
Now, there's really
Audio
nothing there.
bitch.
Yeah, there's nothing there. I've listened over and over and over again. And if he's making a point, I don't see it. I'm not getting it. And if there is something there, it's so minute that it doesn't prove anything. That's my position, okay? But because he claims to be audio guy, gotta love me at the end, it's holding himself out or passing off to be something that he's probably not. But judging by this level of interpretation and analysis, my view is that Sean either doesn't know what he's doing or is trying to make something out of nothing and trying to create guilt where there is none. Because I don't see anything here. I've played it, and I do not see anything. So it called into questions Sean's skills as, quote, audio guy. So I put out a flag and I asked people if anybody knew how to deal with this, could they get in touch? Because I need some help here. I want to know which microphone was actually playing the sound. I'm not interested in any other part of it, right? You can interpret clicks, you can interpret noises, you can interpret anything you want. The question was quite clear, and I wanted to know what microphone. Could someone show me what microphone played this clip? And if they can they show it? Like, can we do it?
Wait, let me check it. Where was it? Further down, right?
Yeah, go back to that definition he cites too.
So I want to know, can that microphone be isolated and shown to be which one it is? And the answer is yes. I didn't know how to do it, but two guys got in touch. One guy from FE Core and another guy that's going to remain nameless, because if the ballers claim that it's okay, anonymity is acceptable because it doesn't change the message or the evidence that's being presented, which they do claim, then we're going to play the same card. Doesn't matter who this guy is, and he doesn't really want to be disclosed because he doesn't really want the trolls hanging off his coattails. So we're going to do the same thing. But since then, bear in mind that Sean's claimed that it's a hangout of his. He's now realised by this message that's on screen. Yes, I found the gate levels, blah, 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 blah. As far as finding the hangout in question, I can say with 100% certainty that it was not one on his channel. It's about halfway through all of Red's hangouts, but it would go a lot faster if I simply gave him the name of the hangout I was watching. Well, there wasn't a hangout I was watching. I wasn't watching any hangout because I remember I was in the living room and I was on my own with the dog, and the only thing you're going to hear every now and again might be the odd growl from the dog, because he does growl, and that's it. I wasn't listening to anything as far as I can remember. Could have been, but I definitely wasn't listening to a hangout, and I definitely wasn't listening to anything to do with Sean or Soundly. Don't need to. They don't really add anything anymore. But nonetheless, that's where he's at the minute. He's gone from saying it was his hangout, and now he admits it's not his hangout. It might be somebody else's hangout, but he has to broaden the search because he needs to find this hangout, right? But he knows that the hangout doesn't exist. So what he's had to do now is focus on which microphone was presenting the noise. And this is why he's going into a load of detail about talking about this variety of techniques. And one of the techniques that he's used is a white noise analysis technique, right? Doesn't matter what this does, it's the wrong technique. And the reason why I know this is because I've been told which is the correct technique. So what the position that I have now, FE Astronomy Mike from Mike Kavanagh from FE Core has sent me the video called Sean's Bitter End, and as you can see, it's unlisted, and I've removed the link so that you can't see it. Because at the moment, the question is, what do we do? Now, what this recording shows is beyond all reasonable doubt, altogether, completely, it shows which microphone was recording the sound. Black and white. No, it's no interpretation. You can all see it. You can all tell. The question is, what do we do? Do we present it and kill all three of them in one go? Or do we hang fire, ramp it up a little bit, and focus more towards Sean for hiding it and concealing the truth, regardless of how bad the truth may or may not be, to try and get his mate GeoStreamer off the hook? Because let's be honest, what Geo and Soundly did wasn't really the biggest of crimes, right? We all know that they do it. We've never had the evidence to prove it, but we all know that they do it. Well, now we have got the evidence, right? It's just an underhand tactic, right? It's dishonest, but it's hardly the crime of the world, right? But integrity and honesty are the key things that them lot all like point at me all the time. Every time I get a mistake of whatever kind, it's a lie. It's not a mistake, it's a lie. And everybody jumps on it and they all push it and they all push it and they all push it, right? But it's never a lie. I may make a mistake. That makes me human, right? And I'm a flat earther, you know, because where do we go? There's no science, there's no money for a flat earth, etc. So we are going to get things wrong as we're working out what's right. But that doesn't change the fact that it's never dishonest. Yet that's what they always push against me. So the question is, do we pull all three of them down with one foul swoop? And Sean gets away with his concealment of the dishonesty, which is the one key thing that they always go on about. Or do we point out the problem with Soundly and GeoStreamer and trivialize it for the trivial matter that it genuinely is, but emphasize the fact that Sean was the one that's tried to hide this by sweeping it under the mat? Because in my opinion, that's the bigger crime, because it's the one thing that they always point at me. But maybe I'm being biased. So I guess the question to everybody that's watching is put it in the chat or in the comments below the video. Do we take all three of them down, or do we take down just Sean and just trivialize the issue against Geo and Soundly for cheating in the first place? That's really the question, and we have the video. It's here. It's unlisted, and we'll do a dedicated hangout to it. It's just whether we do it now or do we ramp it up and pull Sean down? Because in my opinion, Sean is the fall guy. He's the one that is trying to hide the truth. So is hiding the truth bigger than the original lie itself? Or is it all three of them together are equally and jointly and severably responsible for their own demise? Which is it?
I think GeoStreamer has to get his, excuse me, I'm sorry, Nathan.
That's all right, go ahead.
But because he's been sticking his nose in everything from the children of flat earth issue to everything else. He seems to want to wedge himself into it. So you might as well let him take the full brunt of the hammer with everything else, since he wants to be so involved.
Does that mean that we let Sean off the hook, though?
Oh, well, definitely not. But it is what it is.
Well, you've got two choices with Sean. Either he's complicit, is well aware, and if he's to be believed about being an audio guy, then he is absolutely part of this deception and jointly and severably liable, as you put it. However, there is an argument that he's just incompetent. I mean, I put that argument forward yesterday. You know, he's not qualified, he's not experienced, he doesn't work in the industry. He's got no place making any assertions whatsoever. The fact that he has just makes him an incompetent fool. But
what he's done is
could be argued. Now, I know that's your point. You're saying, well, yeah, shall we argue the latter, which is to say that, the former, that is complicit, that he is part and parcel of the deception, and in fact has been, trying to deceive everybody from day one, because he's perfectly well aware that they do use this technique. He's probably done it himself, for all we know. But if that's the case, then I feel that you've got to try and push that with Sean only in mind. And for me, that may or may not be the case. Fact, Sean wasn't there. He wasn't part of the conversation. Soundly was. Soundly was absolutely feeding GeoStreamer information, and they have lied about it continually from that point to this. So for me, just bring them all down as a...
Yeah, but what Sean has done is he's showed everybody this murky, swampy pond over there and led everybody to it and saying that white noise this, white noise that. Let's be honest, you're looking at essentially white noise in the background right now. This flickering screen thing is essentially the white noise. And he's trying to tell everybody that by comparing the white noise, you can tell which microphone does what. And what he's trying to basically argue is essentially, it's not quite strictly speaking true, but he's trying to argue that you can compare the silences of the mics against each other. But you can't, because the silences of mics, it's not, what he's doing is literally muddying the waters so that it becomes inconclusive either way. Now, the question is that done intentionally because he knows that if he tells the truth, then he's gonna literally indict his friend, so he can't tell the truth, he's got to put us somewhere else? Or is it because it's incompetency, because he's not actually an audio guy that he claims to be? So I don't think, the problem is the skill that I've had demonstrated to me today is very, very simple. If you are an audio guy, it's a really simple task to do. And Audacity, the program that he uses, does do the job, and it does give the same results as the professional stuff. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't, depending on what technique you're trying to use. But on this occasion, Audacity gives the same results. So if he did know what he was doing, and he does have Audacity, he should have been showing what the truth is. So the question is, did he intentionally mislead people so that it became confusing, or is he literally incompetent? But it's one of the two. It can't be. There's no middle ground. He's either an idiot and he's not an audio guy at all, or he is complicit and he was deliberately trying to obfuscate the truth by saying, look over here to this mud pit. Don't go to where the answer is over here in Audacity. Look at this bit. This is what we need to do. And that's the bit I'm struggling with, because I don't know whether Sean's competent or not. And I am biased. And I'm sure Nathan's biased too. But the question is, do we take Sean down as well as the fall guy, or do we group them all together? And just leave them all three as the lying scumbags that they are, because one picture is worth 1,000 words. And on this occasion, every word that picture tells you is liars, which all of them are 1,000 times over.
Sure, but GeoStreamer has a slightly different motivation to Sean. Sean's very, what was the word you used, valiant in his own special way to try and defend his friends. But ultimately, it's in GeoStreamer's best interest at this stage to actually fess up to the lesser crime. I just say, yeah, okay, you caught me. I was being fed by Soundly. So that might also change things if he was to do that. Whether or not he does, I don't know. But that changes things again. So I know that you're in the strongest position, Anthony, so you can do whatever the hell you like, and you know it. But what they do is a different story. I think Sean would just lie through his back teeth indefinitely, even in the face of what you present. So for me, he's got a bit of deniability. Maybe that's why they picked him.
Well, how's about this then? What is the thing that we should do? What is the ethical high ground, the moralistic high ground? What is the thing that we should do rather than kill them all straight away with an axe to the head? We should give them a chance to confess, right? Is that the fair thing to do?
No, because if Geo confesses, then it shines a light on Sean's statements of it being out of your microphone. So therefore, if Geo confesses, then it airs the lie of Sean doing the work and exposing it to be your microphone. So therefore, if Geo, then audio bitch. So
what you're saying is, even though if they're given the chance to confess and admit their crimes, then even if they were given the chance, they're not going to do it because I'm presuming that means that they must think I'm bluffing. Or
well, no,
the
I'm
cost
saying
would
that
be too
that if Geo admits it, then basically then it shines the light on Sean actually lying. Then so therefore Geo can never admit it, because if so, then it automatically exposes all of them to be lying. So therefore he can never admit it.
So therefore,
Well,
we
no,
don't need to give
that's
them
not
any time.
necessarily true. I mean, yes, that is true, but ultimately speaking, it's still beneficial for Geo to do that. You know, if he doesn't, he's then the most screwed out of all of them. So he then Geo's in a position where he has to decide: do I want to save my own neck, or will I have honour amongst thieves and protect my friends who've tried to protect me? In which case, I will be brought down worse than any of them. So he's in a very difficult position. Does he save his own neck?
Then it brings down his whole ship.
Yeah, but he can still jump off ship. He can still jump and save his own skin if he chooses to. If not, he's pulled down with the ship.
But let's be honest, they never ever concede ever. I've never ever seen, apart from Rumpus once, who gave like the quickest concession ever at the beginning of a conversation. I've never seen them ever concede ever, right? So should we, or do we even give them the chance to concede if it's probably going to end up futile? Why don't I just? I mean, literally, I could literally put this on screen right now and play it. Because, I'll give you the front screen.
I'll tell you for why. Because there's genuine consequences for GeoStreamer. That's why.
I'm just going to minimize that because I didn't want the link to be there. But the point is, yeah, there is consequences for GeoStreamer. But I don't know. I think that I'm very much in the driving seat here because I can now prove without any doubt whatsoever that my microphone was shut. It was not creating any frequency of noise at all at the time when that thing was being played, and I can prove it easily, right? So it puts me in the driving seat. So it's a case of, do we give them the time, or should we just kill them? I mean, I could literally do it right now, or should we drag it out?
Disclosure. You might as well just do it now for the sake of what's real.
What do you think, Nathan? Should we do it literally right now?
It's entirely up to you. I've not had you presented because I know you're itching to do it. On the other hand, I still have a small degree of faith in humanity. Last time I said this about Geo, you laughed at me. But if you do this, Geo is, excuse my French, fucked, and I do want to give him at least a small window of opportunity to right his wrong.
No, but he has had that window of opportunity. We have given him the chance to fess up, and he's chose to not to. He's doubled down and said he doesn't think he had anybody playing, right? Now, I don't remember whether I had anything playing in the background, but I wasn't on a call with Soundly, right? And I know that nobody could prove that I was. But Geo's position is that he did have a conversation with Soundly. It does come from his mic, and I can now prove it. So he's made me prove my case. But in doing so, he's lost and sacrificed his ability to come clean, in my opinion, because, well, basically he had the chance. But now he knows that I can prove my case. It's a case of, well, do we give him any more? He's had his chance. Would I be given that same, or would he just come out and do it?
I think that if he was going to concede, I think he would have already done it, because the longer he waits, the worse it's going to be.
So in that case, then, should we not just do it anyway and fuck him?
Honestly, I don't see why I have any mercy on these guys anyway, because all they do is, talk shit about us, slander us, especially you. So I don't know why you would even want to give them mercy. Like the other dude said, they've had plenty of time.
The answer to that question is that it proves that they're wrong, liars, and it also proves my innocence, which is most important. If I can, I want to prove that I did not have a conversation with anybody, and I want to prove that my microphone was off, which I can do. So that's the reason why I'm doing it, because somebody offered it to me, and I basically accepted it because I want to prove my innocence. I want, if I can, and I obviously I couldn't do this before, and I didn't know anything about audio, but I had a feeling that Sean wasn't what he was saying he was. So I've just put up a flag and I said, is anybody able to distinguish which microphone presented this? And then two guys came up and said, I can do that for you. And I was like, really? Are you sure? Yeah, how sure will you be? Depends on a couple of things, but let me do the test and I'll tell you. So we did the test and he rang me and he said, it's beyond doubt. And I said, what's the result? He said, are you sure you want to know it, or do you just want to see it? I said, show me. So we got it on screen. And then when he showed me what he was talking about, it was blatantly obvious. My microphone was off. There wasn't a single frequency of sound, Not even a pin drop was being presented by my microphone, which is a problem if you're going to blame me for it. The only microphone that was active at the time is GeoStreamer's. I think we should just do it now, Nathan. What do you think?
Well, let's just take a vote from the chat then. So, if you'd rather give GeoStreamer the opportunity to fess up his sins, type 1, i.e. we don't play it, 1. If you think Sodom, they deserve everything they get, prove them to be the liars and scumbags, deceitful frauds that they are, and let Geo face the genuine consequences of his actions, then put 2.
I've not got chat open, so you'll have to give me the perception.
Arwin says 2, Part-Time Vegan says 2, John Watson says 2, David says 1. Looks like more 2s than 1s. Definitely more 2s than 1s.
Definitely more 2s than 1s.
Yeah, I'll share your screen.
Definitely.
Give me a second.
By far.
So then what we're going to have to do then is, if we're going to do this right now, the only condition is that once this is over with, everybody basically goes to, we need to throw spears at these guys. We can't just say we've proved you wrong, ha ha. They've got to suffer in some way, because that's what they would do to me. Now I get nothing but like, oh Riley, let me think. What's the forecourt? Riley knows forecourt, and fair enough. I made a mistake, right? I admitted it straight away, and I laugh about it. I made a mistake. I got it wrong. But what's the punishment for there going to be? So what we need to do is we need to throw spears at these guys, because they are liars, proven liars.
Okay.
Should we do it now, Nathan?
You're up. You're on. Let's go. Let's do it.
So okay. So here we go. So Sean's bitter end. Now the best thing is, well, we're not going to. One of the guys is Mike Kavanagh, but the other guy we're not going to reveal, because it doesn't change the nature of the facts. And if they can argue it, so can we too.
Okay, you can share your screen, Stefan. Window that's showing who is in once
to collect this.
Put it somewhere.
You haven't found the Hayabusa, Suzuki Hayabusa.
Begin with, so we're not compromising.
Shown. I'm just thinking. I think so we're not going to tell anybody. No. And
nobody everybody hates me, Anthony.
Want me to introduce it so that I'll introduce it, and then I'll just hand over to you then, and then we'll go from now. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, the purpose of this particular hangout is to demonstrate which microphone was working, which microphone was not working at the relevant time in question. I'm joined by my 2 friends, Mike, and a guy that will remain anonymous, because it doesn't matter who he is, it matters what he can show. So we're going to play the anonymous card against the people that are challenging us, because they think it's okay to do it to us. So if it works for you guys, it works perfectly for me. It's not about who he is, it's about what he can show. So my simple question is, can you identify, or can you prove whose mic was recording or providing the input at the relevant time? So I'm going to hand you to my friend who speaks broken English, but it's fluent enough to understand it. So just bear with him, and he'll explain everything, and he'll show which microphone recorded the sound, and then everything beyond that point doesn't matter. You guys can work out who did what and why. But point is, it wasn't me. So there was a hangout in the background, and I'll hand to my friend, and he can demonstrate and explain to everybody what he's doing, why he's doing it, and what it proves. Over to you, sir.
Hello, guys. I want to show you this waveform here. I mean, this is the waveform from this video file extracted. And if you look at the waveform, you not see a lot. I mean, this is just like any waveform, you know. But in this program, what I'm using here, this is called WaveLab from the manufacturer Steinberg. And this has a feature called Spectrum here. You can switch this waveform view to Spectrum. And what it does is it shows you on the y-axis, it shows you the frequency range, and it starts it goes from 0 till 20 kilohertz. This is what we can hear. And what you immediately see is that there are 2 different heights. These bars have that you can see there are 2 different heights. And the height shows you till which frequency the waveform goes. So, for example, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse pointer here.
Yeah, we can see that.
For example, this part here, this waveform goes till about 15 kilohertz. As the maximum frequency, what is here available is about 15 kilohertz. In this part here, besides, you see the frequency is fading out at about 9 kilohertz. Here is 8.7. Here is 10.9, so about 9 kilohertz. This is quite a big difference. And if you listen to this, you will find out that all parts with higher bars, this is all Anthony. So if I play here this part, I can be sure this is Anthony. I will just play a piece.
We can't hear that.
Can't hear that?
No. System sounds needs to be shared.
Is this what I must do?
It'll be in the Zoom application. Mike, how do we get around this? His system sounds aren't passing through. Maybe just turn your speakers up loud enough so it picks up through your mic. You know, the bleed. Even though it's bleed, I'll be able to identify my voice.
Okay.
Radian is degrees, so 1 radian equals, which is about seconds. This is useful to astronomers when working out distances.
Do you hear this?
Yeah, that is clearly me.
And I can just zoom out. I can go to any part here in this file. This is 3 hours long. I can go to any part what I want. And if I see this high bar and click to this is just a random thing. And if I play this, I'm sure this is Anthony.
Do you remember in the pyramid talk when we had the pyramid talk and there was sodium in the bottom of the?
Yep, that's me.
I can go here. Maybe.
So can we demonstrate that with the alternative as well?
Yes, and if you play just a smaller, also a part with where the bar is not so high, that is Geostreber.
That an effect where
go to another.
Iron is fucking hot. Therefore, we need something that.
So basically, the tall bar is me, the low bar is Geostreber, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Talking about fluids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and what I also want to show you is that if I go to minute 9, it was. This is a part where Anthony is speaking.
Just make these yellow. Hang on, bear with me.
Correct.
And then you hear some very quiet background noise, and you hear him clicking the mouse button.
With me.
That's screen sharing. I'm going to screen. That's what I'm saying there. I'm saying if you listen just prior, I'm saying, okay, I'll screen share. So the mouse clicks and me moving down to screen, like open my screen, pick the screen. So I'm screen sharing.
Yeah, and also notice the dB level of the mouse clicks.
Yeah, if I measure this, for example, I can make a quick analysis. This is, for example, the maximum peak is minus 50 dB. I mean, if I choose this part here, minus 54 dB.
So it's very quiet, that bit, right?
It's very quiet, but you still see frequencies going up till 15 kilohertz. So
for a mouse click.
For me, this means that even though this is very silent background noise, there is always coming frequencies through the microphone till this limits what you can see here.
Actually, does that tell you which microphone? Because it could also equally be Geostreber, because I might have already done my mouse clicks and he might now be doing his.
No, because his dB level is.
I mean, if the clicks from GeoStreamer would come, then it would only go till 9 kilohertz.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So they're definitely my mouse clicks, and that's fine. That's not contentious, and I'm not disputing it.
I mean, in other words, if you see here on the top a color, this is always from you.
That's fine. I mean, all I'm asking to make sure is that you can say with certainty that they belong to me.
Yes, I'm quite sure. Yeah.
That's
and
fine.
if I go now to this part where Soundly is speaking in the background, this is at 1420 it was, yeah. 1420 was here.
1410.
And you already see, you even not have to play it. You see, this is the part where GeoStreamer is speaking, and then here comes this quiet part. You see the colors are faded; they are not so bright.
Means not so bright, meaning they're very quiet, correct?
But they also stop at the same frequency what normally GeoStreamer is also stopping. So it's also faded out at 9 kilohertz.
So basically, if this was my microphone, the frequencies would go right the way up.
Yes, if this would be your microphone, I would expect that this frequency would go show something at 15 kilohertz.
Yes.
I agree.
If I play this here now, I mean, this is not very quiet. Maybe from here.
Wait, let me check it. Where was it? Further down, right? Small angle formula.
So my next question is, if that shows that it's come through GeoStreamer's mic, what's my microphone doing at that moment?
Nothing.
Right. That's the key part. My microphone's doing nothing. The only sound is being presented through that signature.
If your microphone would be on too, and you would send or transmit the sound, this would be mixed, and then there would be higher frequencies here too.
Yes.
That's a problem, boys and girls, because the claim is that sound came through my microphone, but if it did, then the sound would be as high as the other bars that are my microphone, and we can clearly see that my microphone is doing nothing. The only sound that's being presented is through GeoStreamer's mic.
I mean, there are other ways too to show this with a normal spectroscope here. It does the same thing like here, but only in real time. So you have to look where the bars are jumping. But I think the best visible it's in this view here down, because here you see everything at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I do have another couple of questions to validate this, because this is really good on its own, but we need a little bit more. Now, Sean's using Audacity, okay? Can this process be done in Audacity? And if it can you demonstrate it?
Yes, it can. And I already have the clip in question open in Audacity. Let me share my screen.
Sure. Because really, this is the point where Sean has this equipment and he uses it, this software, and he uses it. So really what I want to show is that it can be done with Audacity, and the fact that Sean didn't do it shows that he doesn't know what he's doing, because this is the answer to the question, which microphone was picking it up. So if we can replicate this with Audacity, then we have a problem, because Sean isn't telling people or doesn't know what he's doing. It's one or the other.
I mean, I would like to add only something.
Yeah.
I mean, this analyzation, what we're doing here, this is nothing really special. I mean, this is just frequencies. I think this would, if a program has this kind of view, I mean, every program could show this.
So this isn't taxing. This is not very expert level stuff. This is like straightforward stuff, simple, easy.
Yeah. Well, what I said to you when I read Sean's comment about noise filtering, and my reply to that was that if you're going to base it on a noise signature, that you need to narrow it down to a specific frequency, and that's what the spectrograph is actually doing.
Yeah, because he said that he's comparing white noise. Now, the way I interpret that based on what it's been described to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not an audio guy, so I'm not going to say that this is correct, but it appears that he seems to be comparing the silence of the Hangout to different silences. Is that a reasonable way to describe it? Or what is he doing with a white noise comparison?
Well, white noise is basically just noise emitted on even levels on all frequencies. And it's always present in basically all microphones and audio snippets. You know, there's always some form of noise present in the background. When,
is it specific to a because he talks about a microphone signature. Is white noise relevant to microphone signatures?
Just the peak frequencies, what we're showing in the spectrograph.
So really the spectrograph is what he needs to be doing, and he clearly either doesn't know this, or if he does know it, he's deliberately not showing it, because this is the answer. And even now I see this and it's totally obvious and I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't need this to be explained, although we are going to explain it, but it can be done with Audacity. And Sean
Are you looking at my screen at the moment?
We're looking at
Yes. Okay. Well, this is the spectrograph from Audacity in the highest resolution that I could set it on, and you can still see the same peaks. You know, you don't have to actually listen to the file itself to see which one is Anthony and which one is GeoStreamer. And you know, the clip in question starts here at 1420. And we can already see, just based on the frequency, that it's not Anthony's mics that is open at the moment.
Yeah.
It's clear.
So now this proves to me that my mic was shut and that his mic was recording. Now it moves then from, well, what's Sean? For me, this is where it becomes a little bit not tactical, but it becomes political, because the question is it Sean that doesn't know what he's doing, or does he know what he's doing and he's deliberately not showing people? Because it's one or the other for me. This is the answer, and I understand it, right? I understand that this proves that my microphone was doing nothing.
Well, Sean's approach was the most superficial approach that you can get from an uneducated amateur, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've listened back to different parts of it, and I've tried to work out what was being said too, because I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm happy to admit that, because I don't profess to be an audio guy. But Sean does profess to be an audio guy. That raises the level, because you can expect more from somebody that self-proclaims to be an audio guy, because it gives more credit to what he's saying. Now, I admit that I don't know what I'm doing. But when this is presented to me, it's clear as day that the sound that came through the microphones only came from one microphone, and it was not mine. My microphone was doing nothing. So why is Sean telling people? Is it because he's incompetent, or is it because he knows and he's making us go look somewhere else? Depends on what Sean's level of skill is. But if Sean is skilled the way he is, and this is a simple task, it seems to suggest that he's deliberately not showing this, in my opinion.
Well, you always have to be very careful with what you state about your own skills, especially on public forums like YouTube. If you state that you are an audio guy, and some real audio guy hears that, he's gonna probably want to put your feet to the fire and test if that's actually true. You know, and especially if you make a claim about somebody that puts somebody in a very nasty position, if that was actually true. So what I wanted to see, if Sean was actually telling the truth, and if his method was actually solid enough to determine undoubtedly which microphone is open, you know, and he took the most superficial approach to frequency analysis based on white noise, you know.
Was that intentional though? That's really the question to me.
Yes.
I think so. I think Sean knows that this is the answer. An audio guy that makes his own MIDI files, that creates and composes his own music, must have come across this at some point. And I don't accept that he's not come across this, and I don't think he can play the ignorant card. He's deliberately showing us what he doesn't want us to. He's showing us what he doesn't want us to see.
Well, I don't think, you know, it's not a common tool that is used just for you know, basic audio editing. Spectrographs, you know, are basically a way to you know, to show high resolution of the sounds that you are actually producing in your audio file. And I can't see a specific reason why any amateur would actually make frequent use of the spectrograph because, it's an unfamiliar tool. If you don't know what.
I agree. Yes, and normally I'm not really using this very often too, because for normal stuff you would not use it.
No.
Or you have no need to use it. Yeah.
But even Audacity, the free program, has it as an inherent feature in it. So it it just shows the knowledge that our audio guy actually has about audio.
So I guess, do you want to play this little bit so that it shows it in Audacity so that you can see it?
Sure. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but here goes.
Where was it? Further down, right? And your formula.
Yeah, we couldn't hear the very low bits. I think it's coming through your microphone as bleed from your speakers. You know, the issue that we're actually looking at. But it's clear. The sound only came from one mic.
Yes. Undoubtedly. And if Sean wants to do this through another third party, independent third party, then I'm inviting him to do that because he will get the same result.
So I guess that's the end of that one then.
Yes. Sean Hufford debunked.
Yeah, Sean Hufford's not just debunked though. Sean Hufford's debunked, and you have to question what his level of competency is, because I don't think that he's known. I don't think that he didn't know about this. I think that he did know about this and deliberately hid it because it protected his friend if he obfuscated it, which is a common tactic by the ballers. They will deliberately obfuscate points so that the matter gets lost. So what I'm going to do is thank you both massively for coming to my help, because this proves a negative for me. It proves that my microphone did not do anything at that time. And that means I was sat there like a good little boy waiting for Gio to do what he's doing. And in the background, Gio has somebody doing something for his benefit that shouldn't be there. Sean lied. Sean got caught out. Gio lied. Soundly lied. They all got caught out, and they've all tried to bury this because they're dishonest, like all ballers are.
Yes, I cannot agree more. And let this be a fair warning to all the ballers out there. Be careful what you claim expertise in, because there are a lot of people that will put that to the test.
Thank you very much, gents. Thank you very much, gents.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll stop the recording.
And there we go. Black and white proof that my microphone was off. What do you think, Nathan?
Awesome.
Mine was also off.
I mean, I've obviously already been privy to the information. I'd seen it prior to you presenting it, and it was as clear cut as it is. You know, it's down to the frequencies that are coming through the microphone. So he has a limited frequency range. That's the only frequencies that will ever go through his microphone. You have a far wider frequency range. So therefore, even your mouse clicks are picked up in a much more dynamic way than they are on his shitty headset mic that bleeds.
It's a bit like every pore in every orifice of his is going to get bleeding now because of the beating that he's going to get. Them three lied. Gio and Soundly were having a conversation, right? They were having a conversation. Sean Hufford got involved, partly maybe because I said his name, but ultimately probably to damage, limitate, and create muddy waters where there are none, and make it into try and create reasonable doubt, which is a sign of intelligence. But ultimately, he's implicated himself, because if he is a self-proclaimed audio guy, then the problem he's got is he knew about this and he deliberately hid it, or he's just incompetent. But either way, Sean is not an audio guy, but they are all dishonest.
Audio bitch.
What I think is that they're still not going to admit it, but it'll be interesting to see what they come up with to make excuses for this now. I mean, as they walk on ever thinner ice, right? They'll never admit. These guys will never admit anything. I guarantee you that.
Audio guys is just a liar, and he is incompetent.
They're scrambling right now for an excuse.
They'll come up with something.
That's all they're gonna do. Because look, I'm not an audio guy myself, but I mean, what Riley just presented, that was pretty clear cut to me.
Yeah.
Especially
If
when you look at it with
my
the
microphone
spectrograph
was
and all
making that
that.
noise,
I mean, come
that
on.
bar. If my microphone was making that noise, the bar that we show, the little faint one, it would have gone across the whole spectrum. It wouldn't have just been the little bit that Geo's got. It's proves that my microphone was off.
Well, if there's any little part of that that's arguable, they're going to build their house on that. And they'll find something arguable and they're going to build their house on that. I'm just saying these guys will never admit to having lied. And it doesn't matter. They don't care. They don't have a personal stake in this like you do, Anthony. They're not going to be wounded by having been caught out like this. That's what you have to realize that you're up against. They're not concerned with personal integrity and things like that.
Oh, Alex is. Alex
you know
Nicole,
what?
aka GeoStreamer, is definitely concerned about that. I can assure you.
Well, I doubt that. What's the evidence that he is concerned with that?
Because he said he's concerned to Anthony, and I've read it.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, I don't think these guys are going to admit anything ever.
And
I think that if they were concerned with their personal integrity, they'd probably be, more willing to negotiate to establish the truth or admit them. I don't know. I'm just saying, I would be very shocked. I could be wrong. That would be cool if I was wrong. I'm just saying. I think that what you're going to find is that these guys are just going to sweep this under the rug. It's not going to matter. They're just going to move their argument elsewhere.
That's not what's going to happen. The only way that they can get out of this is to invalidate the application of that process, because this is where Sean was trying to talk about the silent parts, the white noise. Well, that's completely wrong, because that's not identifying which mic, and that's the reason why he couldn't identify which mic, because he was trying to interpret it to create this ambiguous scenario. But when you look at the frequency analysis or spectrum analysis or whatever it's called, that identifies specifically which microphone was not being recorded.
Anthony, I agree with you 1,000%. I'm not arguing the facts. Not at all. That's not what I'm trying to say. I think I would bet the farm that you have solved this case, and that that's what I thought they were doing that for over a year. I thought they've been doing that exact strategy. So I'm glad that they got caught out. I'm just saying that the way I see these guys is that they're never going to admit anything. I guarantee you. They're never going to admit.
What's going to be most interesting is what the ballers that are in chat will do, because if this was me, the ballers would be all over me for lying, right? But what are the ballers in chat going to do? Because you've seen that my microphone was off. So you guys have got to be going back to Sean and Geo and trolling them guys the way you guys troll me. And if you don't, that just shows everything that all you ballers are is nothing but trolls. That's it.
That's what they are. They're nothing but trolls. And like I say, I mean, I don't think any of them have anything personal integrity.
Well, they're just
is there even one baller in the chat that's like, hey, I'm a baller, but obviously that was dishonest? No, not one of them. I haven't seen.
Well, I think
how many ballers are in chat?
It's also sad, that we're trying to expose liars, and then we have to deal with our own people. Our own people.
But the good thing about this is that it's going to tighten the noose, and in every angle, that's what you guys keep doing, which is great, because next time somebody asks Sean Hufford to do that in their ear in a chat, he's going to be like, no, I don't want to get in the middle of this. I'm going to get in trouble. And so it's like breaking them apart.
I think he'll do it anyway.
I think you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot about these guys' character. This is what this is. It's an expose of character, right? Because we're going to... What happens in the wake of this kind of expose is going to be the interesting part. Do these guys admit it? If not, it really shines a light on what kind of people that you're dealing with here. Are these people of character? Are these people who are approaching this conversation with any sort of integrity, honesty, any kind of concern for actually bringing out truth and facts? Or are they just here to be trolls and just kind of muddy the waters, obfuscate the points, and just try to limit the possibilities of this flat Earth?
I would go with the latter.
I'm Earth Flattener. I'm a big fan. I like when you're on the show, so it's good to hear you.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to Mike Kavanagh and our mystery sound engineer, and Anthony for putting that presentation together, of course. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel, limited though their interaction was with this particular show. And a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, Globeheads, Alex, Soundly, who else was there? Sean Hufford, yeah, slightly less. Then you know exactly what to do. But if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!